Hello and welcome back to the Client Code podcast. My name is Carol Kabaale, and today, as always, if you're from around here, you know what I'm going to say next. Today is a good one. In fact, it's a great one. Have you ever thought about hypnosis? Stay with me, because I know you're like, Carol, we're getting a little woo, we're getting a little bit weird. I don't know what you're talking about. This has nothing to do with business. Stay with me for a second. Imagine, right, that you could get hypnotized. You could get turned into the best version of yourself. Would you not want to do it? I'm going to put my hand up right now and be like, pick me. Okay. So if that sounds delicious, exciting, or you're just curious, then this episode is for you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Actually, literally, I have goosebumps because I know how good this is going to be. After I said the intro, I was like, "Ooh, hello, guides coming in."
To that intro and was like, tell me more.
So for all of us that have made it here, we are going to get into all things hypnosis, and I'm so excited. But before we dive in, we've got to ask you, what is your unique client code when it comes to visibility?
So you may not guess this from what you just said, but it's hypnosis.
What?
So I got certified as a hypnotherapist in 2016. And part of the reason I did it is because I received hypnosis and I started to learn some of the science behind it. I know you mentioned woo earlier, and people do still put it in the woo category. It is very scientific. Like, there are scientific studies behind why hypnosis works, how it works, all these things, right? So I experienced hypnosis and realized that the conscious brain is only 5% of the equation. The subconscious brain is 95% of the equation. And I don't know about you, if I were a betting woman and I had to bet on a 5% chance of success versus a 95% chance of success, I'm going to pick the 95%, right? Like, that's
Obviously. It's night and day.
Yeah. And so I received it and I was like, oh my gosh, I just changed my brain's capacity for success. And if I'm only touching 5% of my clients' brains, I actually am not helping them. There's no amount of social media strategy, of speaking strategy, of pitching strategy, of da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da that I can give them. If their subconscious mind says, that's not safe, that's not possible for me, I can't do that, then we spend our entire coaching time fighting against the rule book that your brain has put in place for usually many decades, and we don't get anywhere. Versus if I'm able to go in and work with you to change the rules of your brain based on your goals, shit changes, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I will share like all sorts of client things, and like I self-hypnotize, which is amazing. It takes double the amount of effort because I have to be both the practitioner and the recipient, but I still do it because it's so powerful. And I hypnotize myself for all sorts of things because I'm not willing to let my brain dictate to me what's possible when we live in a world of endless possibilities.
Ain't that right? Ain't that the truth? Let me just tell you, we are currently, I don't care when you're listening to this, we're living in a world that is fascinating for many different layers and for many different reasons. So if you're still thinking that you only deserve X when the world clearly is going through so much, we need to change that. And I agree with you. Now, I want to because I do agree with you and I think hypnosis has worked. I've also been like partially hypnotized before and I've used it in therapy. But for someone who is like, no, I'm skeptical, I want like strategy, how is this going to help me as a founder get more clients?
So say, for example, because we're talking about visibility, I had a client who was very afraid of showing up on social media. She would still post like here and there. It was very inconsistent. And she wasn't showing up in her full capacity on social media. She was terrified that someone was going to cancel her, that someone was going to start a hate campaign against her, that someone was going, like all these things, which had never happened, would never happen.
Yeah.
She is a genuinely lovely, I've been working with her in her business for 10 years. Like, she's a genuinely lovely human being. And even before that, I knew her for like 3 years before that. So her brain was telling her that it was unsafe to be visible. So you can imagine that, like, if your brain is constantly telling you that it's unsafe to be visible, you can't show up and be visible. So as a founder, you can either choose to sit there and fight with yourself all day, every day, and have that constant tug of war between your conscious brain that's like, but I want more clients, but I want a bigger impact, but I want, and your brain is saying it's not safe. I had another client who desperately wanted more success. And as it turned, she wanted to like own a private jet, like all these things. She wanted so much success.
She
And
wanted her cake and eating it too. She wanted all the things. I love this for her.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. But her brain told her that success wasn't safe because her mom instilled in her at a young age, if you are successful, therefore you are selfish. So she even won an award and she wasn't able to fully accept it. She kept saying like, oh, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was my team. My team did this. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I'm like, girl, it was you. So again, like if you're like, I want all these successes and your brain is like, but therefore your mom's going to disown you and you're going to be selfish, right? Like, so as a founder, again, you can either choose to change the rules of your brain, or you can choose to just fight with your brain all day, every day and spin your wheels and not get to where you want to go. The first woman I talked about who was afraid that she was going to get canceled.
Yes.
I have been, like I said, working with her for a long time. We did a visibility hypnosis literally 2 days ago. She just closed a sponsorship with Ferrari.
What?
Like
Lewis Hamilton and Charlotte Leclerc, my dream husbands in my next life.
Because she closed it so funny story. Last year, they declined her the sponsorship. She reached out, asked, and they declined.
Yeah.
She didn't know why. This year, the reason they accepted is because she's changed her social strategy and she's actually implementing it. So literally because of her visibility, she just signed a partnership with Ferrari.
Wow. And that's just a shift that happened in her mindset. Okay, now that sounds intriguing. I'm sure everybody who's listening by now is like, okay, but like, how does it work? And I'm sure chat or Google could tell us, but you mentioned the science behind it. In super quick layman's terms, what is happening in our brain to cause that shift to occur?
Yep. So what happens before the age of 8 is that our brain is literally amassing data. And it amasses data through the experiences we have, through the things that we're taught, through our environment, through our teachers, our parents, like all these things. It amasses all of this data and it stores it in the subconscious, which if you think about a filing cabinet, it's like not the drawer that you open on top with all the stuff like right in the front. It's the bottom filing drawer, like way, 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 way in the back, right? Like,
yes.
And depending on how old you are, calculate like from the age of 8. For me, that's 35 years. My brain has spent 3 decades reaffirming and adding more and more proof to what's in that filing cabinet. So our brain is I say it like this. Our brain is like a library. It can only conceptualize what is or what has been through the context of what we've been taught. Our brain is not like a psychic. Our brain is not futuristic. It cannot project into what's possible. It always drags us back to the rules that it wrote before we were 8 and all of the things in that bottom back of that, like bottom drawer back of the filing cabinet that's been collecting dust. Maybe it's a little moldy, like maybe like it's old and it's back in there. Like, you know, if you're in your 60s, 5 decades that your brain has been reinforcing these old narratives, right?
Yeah.
So can you positive think yourself out of these things? Well, we just talked about the conscious brain is only 5% of the equation. So you can try affirmations. Personally, I've found that like affirmations don't really work because 5% of your brain is being like, hooray! And the other 95% of your brain is like, you're lying. That's a lie. That's
like, why are we doing this? This is such a waste of time. Sure, I'm going to be a millionaire. Sure, I'm going to do this. Like, there's always a question mark behind the affirmation if you really don't. Sometimes I think we're tested to believe, but what you're saying is that other 95% is like, yeah, that's not possible. Like, we've never done that. So I'm not going to like lie to you and say you're going to do it.
It's like, so, we are all technology inundated right now. And I have it on my phone right now. I'm refusing to give the iOS upgrade for my phone because I've heard it's horrific. But like we're asked to upgrade our technology
Constantly.
all the time,
Yeah.
but we're not upgrading our brain, which is as humans, our biggest technology is our nervous system and our brain. And guess where your nervous system gets its information?
From your brain.
From your brain. So like if you're not upgrading your operating system, what do? You're trying to run like a 1990s green dot Oregon Trail on like a
Dude,
2026 iPhone 17. Like that's not
it's not going to work.
why.
Yeah.
Why? There's more available to you.
I like that. Okay. So now we know that there's more available to us. We know that we need to upgrade. Okay. In how would I go about taking that first step? Besides hiring you, of course, because I mean, if you're listening to this, you should hire Bri. You know, I only have good people on the show and I would not steer you the wrong way. So go and like find her stuff and go and hire her. But before we get there, for those that are still on the fence, what is a small thing that they could maybe implement today or try today to identify an upgrade in their life?
I mean, the first thing I always say is awareness, because if you don't recognize something, you can't change it. Like if you are blind to the fact that something is happening, you have no power to do anything about it. So I would say, the first step is awareness. And for me and what I've witnessed in my clients over the last 10 years is that the most important moment is right after you think the big thought. Because if you think like, oh, that guy's attractive, and immediately your brain is like, he would never go out with you.
Oh,
Or you think, oh, I want to make $1 million. And your next thought is that even possible? Or you think, I want to get 10 new clients this week. And your next thought is, girl, you've never done that in your life. Who do you think you are? Like there's always that like afterthought.
yeah, there's like that little.
Yeah. That thought to me, it's not, I don't want to know. I mean, tell me, it'll be great. But like for the work I do, I don't necessarily really care what the first thought is. I want to know what the second thought is, because that is the indicator of where your brain is limited in its rule book. That is the indicator of the system upgrade that your brain needs to help you get to what that first thought was. I'm in the business of really big goals with people. So the big goal to me, like it's exciting and it's amazing and it's cool. And I kind of see everyone's big goals through like the same lens, but it's that but thought that is where I like to focus, because I'm like, that's the work.
Yeah.
That's your subconscious showing to you what it believes you are capable of.
And as you said that, I'm not even going to lie to you, for my own selfish personal gains, I had so many flashbacks of things like that. I'm like, ooh, Carol, we're going to need to upgrade. We're going to need to figure this out. Because like you said, we all have great intentions. We want to set these big goals. We want to do it. And then it feels like the follow through is harder to do. And I guess, and like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is that possibly why I don't like using the word fail, but really not complete things or not achieve things as we think, because there's something that's keeping us safe, that's holding us back. And that is what we need to overcome, correct?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Also, we need to get you. So for anyone listening, I'm actually currently developing up an app that will be on the market later on this year. And I need to get you access to it. So we'll talk later.
Okay. And listen, I'm going to put it out there, because this is the Carol and the marketing person here. I'm going to get Bri to create a wait list. So whenever you catch this, you can join that wait list and then you can get the app. We're going to get Bri to do that.
Yeah, that is accurate. And actually, thank you for that, because I've been talking to my co-founder about it and I haven't done it yet. So we
can talk about that too.
Actually, here, it's going to be, I'll tell you what it is right now, because I'll just make it. It's going to be briseeley.com/Sotto, S as in Sam, OTTO. Sotto is the app that we are developing. And it means, in Italian, it means underneath.
Ooh, we're diving deep into it. Like we're getting deep within the problem. I like it.
It came to me in meditation, because I kept thinking, like initially I had all these other, subconscious is a very long word. And when you're developing a tech platform, subconscious is like not. That's not the vibe. That is not Uber. That's not Lyft. That's not Airbnb. And so I was like, all right, universe, give it to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm a need. And so I was meditating with Joe Dispenza one day and the word Sotto and I was like, oh, that's perfect.
I do like to
So
meditate. I do like to listen to things like that. I also think it helps with your brain. Wait, question that just popped into my head. Is meditation and hypnosis similar? Are they cousins? Are they friends? Are they the same people? Am I doing one? Am I doing the other?
it depends. I think hypnosis can be a form of meditation, but I don't think that meditation is always a form of hypnosis, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I think it depends on what type of meditation you're doing. I think it depends on how deep you're getting in meditation. Are you truly accessing the theta brainwaves, or are you just using meditation as a band-aid, as a space to think about all your to-dos for the day and reinforce all of the old narratives, right? Like, meditation unfortunately it's a very broad word that
Mm-hmm.
could be like you're just deep breathing for 2 minutes to calm your anxiety, or it can be that you're like literally I mean, I've had out of body experiences in meditations. I've visited multiple dimensions in meditations.
Get it.
So it's meditation is a big word that covers a lot of ground. And so I think the arrow leads in one direction, but not both directions.
Okay. Okay. I see it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, as the old young kids would say. I think these 6, 7 kids say that.
Right. Not all meditation goes deep enough for you to actually touch your subconscious brain. And unfortunately, there is a lot of stuff out on the market that's coming out on the market right now that says it's subconscious, but it's not. So, like, just listening to a subconscious reprogramming track is probably
Problem.
not actually reaching your subconscious.
Yeah.
Like, there's a very specific way that I have learned to get people into that brainwave state that simply turning on a YouTube video that has subliminal messages in it, like, isn't.
It's not good enough. Yeah. You can't just show up and expect to be like there. You got to do the work. You got to open the door. You got to pitch up, and then it's going to happen. That makes total sense to me. Now,
Well, and that's
let's, yeah, no, go.
another element of the subconscious too, is like even a lot of those subliminal things is just like, again, those affirmations and positive reinforcements. Well, the way subconscious work happens is that you go in, you identify what the weed is that's happening, like what the problem is that's happening, or the rule that was written. You have to uproot it. So you literally have to like if you had a weed in your garden, you wouldn't just go back there and cut the top off of it and be like, done. You would
Yeah.
dig and like literally remove the roots, because if you don't remove the roots, the weed's just going to grow again. So, and then you plant what it is that
Yes.
you want. But
Yes.
if you're just trying to go in and like basically put a band-aid on an open gaping wound that's like filled with sepsis, like that's not it. Just
You're just
it,
like putting stuff on top. Like you're like hiding it, but it's still there. Like you're building on sand. And if you build on sand, eventually it's going to crumble because your foundation is not strong enough. So I hear that. What is one thing, Bri, that you wish more people knew about hypnosis that no one really talks about?
I mean, I wish people knew the science of it. I wish they knew the studies and the actual neuroscience and the like, because like we started with, people are like, oh, hypnotherapy, like that's woo, or oh, hypnosis, are you going to make me cluck like a chicken? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
some people do use it for those things, and like good for them. They're entertainers. I love that that's their MO. I'm here for deep healing. And if you truly want to be a better version of yourself and you want to choose greatness in your life, you have to uproot all of the things that are not aligned with that. And so, like, that's the work I'm here to do in the world. And I wish people truly knew how powerful this stuff is through the lens of science. Because, I mean, I can go woo with you. Like I said, I'm very woo, very
Yes.
woo.
Myself
But
included.
also, there is actual, like, this stuff has been studied. It is a science. It's not just, again, like positive thinking or,
It's
manifestation or
not
whatever.
holistic like that. It's not like wellness. This is like actual science that people have studied, and they have like actual credibility of what can happen. I mean, the fact that like I've heard this before when you said that we use very little of our brain. I just didn't know that we were literally only using 5%. That is very scary to me because it just makes me think like I have gotten so much done on 5%. Could you imagine what I could do with 10? Girl, like at this point, I don't even need 100. I'm the kind of person where like, listen, at school, I used to say to people, like, I was always that child that teachers were like, Carol, if you just applied yourself more, you'd be better. I'm like, a pass is a pass. That was me. So that Carol is telling this Carol, like, girl, you've been doing pretty well. Like, we've been doing okay. Imagine if we got another 2%. Imagine if we got another 5%. And I think there's something to that too, where it would be great to access all 100%. But I think all of us don't need that. When I think about my own experience and my own clients, like if I had 100 people wanting to work with me right now, I would be overwhelmed. But if I had like 5 or 10 or 3, like that would feel manageable. And I think with upgrading, you just take it step by step and you will see it. So for anybody listening, we're not saying like you're going to go 0 to 100 real quick. What we're saying is that you're going to unlock parts of this journey. And for the woo people, it's going to be magical. For the science people, it's going to be great. That's what I'm going to say to you.
It's going to be predictable and repeatable.
There we go.
The thing I think too is that it's like we don't need to consciously access 100% of our brain. There's a reason the subconscious exists. You don't need to relearn or be present for brushing your teeth if you've been doing it for 42 years of your life. Your subconscious stores stuff so that you don't have to constantly have those tabs open in your brain. That would be overwhelming, I say, as I look at my 200 tabs open on my desktop.
That's how you know you're an entrepreneur. If you do not have multiple tabs open, I do not trust you as a business owner.
I mean, imagine that being your brain all the time. Like your tabs are all open all the time and you have to consciously think about all of the things you're going to do all the time. We don't need that. What I think about with the subconscious is like, okay, if that 95% is aligned with my past and it's aligned with who I've been and it's aligned with like, let's be honest, I grew up in the 80s. The world in the 80s
very different
is not the world that we live in today. If my 90-year-old self, whatever, came into the world today and was like, oh my God, what's this phone? What's this? The internet?
Why is it flat? How are we meant to hold this? Like we want to hold.
Where's the dial? Where's the dial? But like,
why is it not on the wall? More importantly,
where's the cord? But like, so I think about, the version of myself that wrote the rules of my subconscious is so outdated that I would much rather, it's not that I need to access my 100% of my subconscious. It's that I want the data in my subconscious to be aligned with my present and my future and not my past. Because I don't know about you, I think about my 8-year-old self all the time. And I'm like going back to little 8-year-old Brianna. If she looked at my life today, what would she think? And so she was the one that wrote the rules that are currently in my subconscious. The job I have today didn't even exist when I was 8 years old. So if I
feel that
I'm currently trying to create a future based on rules of things that are so outdated.
Yes.
Like I would much rather upgrade my data, upgrade the information in my brain, upgrade the rules aligned with the world we're currently living in than the one that my, 1980 whatever year old self developed.
Had to experience. Yeah. And it's also interesting, like that version of ourselves was so young. We didn't know what we didn't know. So it's very interesting that it's like, that's the point that stayed. I also just want to shout out 8-year-old Brianna and 8-year-old Carol. Like we were doing the things. I mean, once again, I think we don't give each other enough grace. 5% has gotten you this far. Just imagine what 10% could do. Like that's the part that I'm really stuck on is like, you need to give yourself enough grace to say it has helped you to this point. Maybe like, you're like, oh, this is a terrible point. I'm in a terrible place. This is a bad situation. Well, think about what 10% could do. It could probably get you even out of that situation. And if you're in a great situation, it's probably like going to amplify that even more. So I really love this conversation, Bri. And honestly, I could probably speak to you till the cows come home because now my brain has 101 tabs open, like ask her this, ask her this, ask her that. But Yeah, no, we're going to have to do a part 2 of this because I have more questions. Yes, tell me.
When Sotto launches, I will come back and we will talk more about the subconscious.
Okay, so you heard it here first. She's going to come back. Like, I have it in writing now, and we all have to keep her accountable. She's coming back to tell us about it. I'm very excited. Okay, so to close off, Bri, we have a standing tradition on the show where we ask every guest, kind of like my mantra, which is what you don't change, you choose. So I'd love to know, what is it that you are choosing today?
So my theme for 2026 is how great can you stand it? And so it's March 6th. So we're like, what, 60-ish some days into the year.
Yeah, February doesn't
And
even count. Just like a bonus.
I've been waking up every day just really choosing my greatness and like, is my greatness and what does it look like? And funny story, I wrote a hypnosis for myself in January, removing anything that's keeping me from my greatness and planting in my brain my vision of greatness. And so I've kind of stopped listening to it now, but for the first month of the year was listening every single morning to reaffirm my for greatness in my life. And so far, so good. I can definitely say that choosing greatness has radically changed my life in the last 60 days for the good and for the quote unquote not so good, or if you believe in that. I believe everything is good, even the stuff that's breaking and falling away.
Yep. Everything happens as it should. And everything happens for you, not to you. I'm one of those.
Well, and when you choose greatness, anything that's in your life that's not aligned with that has to go. To your point of this question, like I'm choosing to let things go that are not aligned with my greatness because I'm so committed to that choice. I'm like unwilling to live a life any longer that is mediocre. And like I've just been waking up and choosing my greatness. And it looks different every single day because I'm an ADHD Manny Gen. So, I'm kind of all over the place.
It
But
happens.
the consistent piece is that I'm just so committed to greatness this year and living a life that is great that I will look back on in 43 years time and say, man, I lived a great fucking life.
I love that. Okay. And with that, Bri, where am I sending the people? Where can they find you? Where do they go?
So the best places are obviously my website, briseeley.com. I do private hypnoses with people. So we custom write a script. I custom do the hypnosis with you. It's very in-depth. It's a 6-week process. And so all of that information is on my website. Or you can come hang out with me on Instagram or TikTok.
Yay! I love it. Okay, guys, that was really special. Bri, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just making this happen. My brain has so many ideas and so many things it wants to do. I also have a bit of ADHD. So, girl, like the neurons are firing. They're like, give us more information. Anyway, we're going to calm them down a bit and just say, once again, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for sharing so openly and in a way that I think has made us more open to be curious about this, but also to try it out. So I'm excited to see what comes of this. And thank you, listener, for being with us, for being part of the crew. I appreciate you. If you have made it to the end of this episode, you already know you are the real MVP. And I thank you for being here. Once again, my name is Carol Kabaale. This has been the Client Code Podcast, and I will see you on the next one.
That was